Hey guys, Professor Games here, coming at you with something a little different here. I figured I might as well live up to my name of Professor by making a video that's a little bit different than what you guys would expect from me. Now, as you can tell from the title. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out how to... Okay. Okay, I have no idea how to... just forget it. Today I will be discussing the science behind the creatures of Grimm. Now, I know what you're all thinking. Professor Games. The creatures of Grimm are dark magic, or beasts of darkness. What science is there? Well, here's what I'm going to explain. As we all know, the creatures of Grimm roam the world of Remnant rampantly, ripping, tearing, and killing every last human being on the planet until there's none left. Let's start off with that one bit right there. The Grimm sense emotion. Now, what is it about human emotion that is attracted to them? Well, they are attracted to sadness, anger, and hatred. Well, emotions aren't just sort of a... emotions aren't just a spiritual thing. There is some biology behind them. And what I mean by biology is that the human body will begin to release certain hormones, or begin releasing certain pheromones corresponding with that particular emotion. For instance, if you're really angry, your adrenal glands will start pumping. You'll begin to glow red because blood is pumping through you. It's basically during high levels of potential stress, or in this case, anger, sadness, depression. Like, these emotions do have some form of biological effect on your body. You start releasing these different pheromones, hormones, and scents. Scents that the creatures of Grimm might be acutely attuned to. Which is why and possibly even greater sensitivity to these particular emotions than any other creature or animal. For intensive purposes, Remnant has a lot of similarities in terms of its wildlife to Earth's animals, so we will be comparing them to the other creatures other animals such as dogs, particularly wolves. Now, well, not particularly wolves, but just dogs in general, who are extremely acute to scent, and bears as well. Now, what are the most common creatures of Grimm that our heroes face? Why, none other than Beowulfs and Ursas, which are wolf and bear Grimms. Both animals known for their extremely acute sense of smell. But they're not the only ones. Now we get into the Deathstalker, based on a scorpion. Now, how do they sense? They don't have noses. Well, they don't, but they have something else. Each scorpion has a small flap of skin underneath on their underbellies, called pectines. They brush these across the ground to feel vibration, and it also helps them detect chemical scents. Now, the Deathstalkers, if they are very much like scorpions, will also have pectines that allow them to pick these up. That's how the Grimm are capable of finding humans and killing them. Now let's get into their reproductive cycles, or however they manage to continue their population. Well, as we saw in Volume 4, the GRIMM seem to crawl out of this unusual ooze, which seems mystical, but might actually have some science behind it. You see, many single-celled organisms are capable of reproducing asexually, merely by splitting the DNA. They're making an absolute perfect copy of their DNA profile. I mean, this is very common within skin cells, many, again, single-celled organisms. And it's generally how, like, your body is able to, like, say you, like, even your skin is just an outer layer of your dead skin cells, while new skin cells are produced to replace them. These creatures... What if the creatures of GRIMM, such as the Beowulfs, are capable of doing this? What if that ooze is like some form of cytoplasm, which is like the inner liquid of a cell, and it's capable of just reproducing carbon copies of different GRIMM? Now, as we've seen the Beowulfs and Ursas and many other like GRIMM, they are essentially like cannon fodder and can be easily dispatched by well-trained huntsmen. But let's get into the GRIMM that are a little more unique that we've been seeing lately. GRIMM that have been able to survive a lot more than the others. One such example would be the Goliaths. According to Dr. Ublek, they've been on a remnant for centuries. Could it be possible that during those centuries, the Goliaths have been able to evolve? Possibly a form of continuous evolution. Like he said, not all GRIMM are mindless. So over time, the Goliaths began to adapt to their different environments. They learned to travel in a herd for safety in numbers against any huntsman. They also learned that just plain out attacking humans, more will come, and eventually they'll be killed. So what? That means that these Goliaths, initially, when they were first possibly created by that mysterious ooze, was actually a really good template for the GRIMM. And as they just continued, they began like adapting more and more. There are like animals on this planet that have been able to quickly adapt to their environments. Africanized honeybees, many invasive forms of reptiles found in the Everglades of Florida, and rabbits, especially in Australia. What if this is the same sort of situation? The Goliaths have been very successful compared to other GRIMM, and for all intents and purposes are not much in threat in terms of a predatory standpoint from the huntsman. So, and possibly even have even passed on the genes to future Goliaths, even being able to produce sexually instead of asexually. However, there is no proof to back up that one little theory I have, because for all intents and purposes, we do not know if the creatures of GRIMM have any forms of gender. Now we finally get down to how a GRIMM dies. As we see, when you slay a GRIMM, it just fades into this black mist. Well, this is very interesting, because typically when like an animal or a living organism dies, there's not the body stays and it only slowly decomposes. What if that's not the case for the GRIMM? What if something about their biological systems, that if if their outer skin is in any ways compromised, it reacts and erodes violently to the atmosphere of Remnant. And for all intents and purposes, I'm going to compare Remnant's atmosphere very much like Earth's atmosphere, consisting 70% of nitrogen and 30% of oxygen. One of those two gases must react violently with that cytoplasm-esque liquid within GRIMM, which is essentially why they just seem to disintegrate. As for why the very, very bright red within the GRIMM, well, all organisms produce energy in order to perform different actions and different movements. And actually, now that I think about it, scrap that other one. What if that fluorescent energy is in a way that cytoplasm that's reacting with actual biological systems? I mean, sure, when you look at it, it just seems like this black, possibly cold ooze, but as it produces a GRIMM, it begins like forming the fur, the bone, and the inner layers. But what if that red is actually a GRIMM's internal body temperature? And that is what gives it its energy. As to how, I cannot say. Once again, guys, I'm working on very limited information, and I kind of want to get some like talking points like others can like. I want us all to start like theorizing on how the biology of the creatures of GRIMM work, because GRIMM Eclipse actually has gotten me really thinking of just the general like biology of these creatures. Yes, they seem like just dark demons that have risen pretty much straight out of hell, but what if there is some form of science and biology to them? I mean, every GRIMM, for all intents and purposes, have been based off of some form or another of animal. Even like that one water dragon GRIMM, there are records of like sea serpents, and what if that one is basically loosed off of one, or possibly even the dragon, or perhaps these are just continued evolutions of the GRIMM. And this isn't even factoring in like Salem's, if Salem has any influence on what GRIMM comes out of those pools. So, once again, guys, this is all very much... These are all very much like talking points that I just kind of want to get like out there among my subscribers and among like any newcomers. But so far the theory is that the GRIMM are like some sort of like super form of cytoplasm-based life forms that function like a much more complicated organism, and that they're able to detect a human's emotions via chemical like pheromone and hormone reactions within the human body. So yeah, I think I got some like good thoughts down. I know I kind of rambled a bunch and I probably didn't make sense a lot of the time, but like I said, these are just like small talking points I'm trying to like get out there to get us all like thinking and theorizing and hopefully like, you know, getting active. You know, I mean, typically I just like start playing some games and like maybe screaming my head off. But the reason I chose this name, Professor Games, is because I want to get some, like, hard science behind how the creatures of GRIMM function as an animal and as an organism in the animal kingdom. Because we know very little about the GRIMM in general. Like, all we know is that they seem to be just, like, biologically hardwired to hunt and kill humanity. Whether this is by any means, like, by influence of Salem, or perhaps it's some sort of, like... Oh, the man himself.
Or it might be everything! Either way, I believe it should be worth investigating the Below Industries building and mountain plan. If my old maps are still accurate, it should be located somewhere near the center of town. Just do your best not to end up like the brilliant woman.
I didn't think we'd be coming back here so soon.
You and me both, Ms. Xiaolong. Now, like I was saying, the GRIMM do have some form of biology to them. And I truly do think that that's worth, like, looking at them. Like, take the creeps, for example. They seem to be, like, a very bare, basic type of GRIMM. Only 2 limbs, and mostly dwell underground. So, and then there are the Beowulfs, slightly more complicated. All have 5 limbs, actually, counting their tails. And seem to understand the advantage of safety in numbers when fighting against another, like, rival or potential predators. That being the huntsmen and huntresses of the world of Remnant. I mean, we see rivalries against dominant species all the time among the animal kingdoms. I mean, lions compete against hyenas. Many different forms of predatory fish, even the sharks, have to compete against...
Even break a sweat.
Against other sharks or possibly orca whales who are their natural predators. And... you know, even, there are numerous examples. Like, humanity itself has greatly evolved over the centuries, and once again, considering the enormous amount of similarities between Remnant and Earth, in terms of like it's as both planets as a biosphere and an ecosystem, the comparison will be like humans have evolved from, like, the more basic Neanderthal to relying more on their intelligence.
According to my map, you should be able to take a detour through the city's old waterway system.
Well, what are we waiting for? Get it? Okay?
God damn it, Yang. Anyhow, as I was saying before that, sorry, I'm just checking something real fast. The whole idea behind that, the reason I'm doing this in the first place, guys, is because
Open the lock. I hope it still works. It looks a little rusty.
the reason behind this is because, like, yeah, RWBY as an anime has is mostly in the realm of fantasy from certain aspects, but as we've seen in the show, there is some interesting concepts for science fiction, and even then, like, there is some actual pretty good hard science behind it in most cases. And sorry. And it could be that, oh, God. I was so focused on my science and my biology, I just got wrecked. I'm so sorry about that, guys. yeah, the next talking point I'm thinking about is, I've explained the GRIMM in pretty good detail, for the most part.
Activate the switch to open the lock. I hope it still works. It looks a little rusty.
And...
Bring them on. You're not so tough. You're not so tough. You're not so tough.
What am I doing? There we go. So, sorry about that really, really, really awkward moment of silence there, guys. Anyway, I think I've explained, like, my side enough. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this new type of content I'm going to be doing, please let me know via a like, a comment, or let me know on DeviantArt, because, I'm a big, like, science geek. I've always, like, been into, like, science and such, so, let me know your thoughts on whether you want to see more of these, whether you want me to do more, like, RWBY stuff, whether you want me to see, like, do, like, things other than RWBY, because I have a lot of theories on a lot of stuff, and, I want to get us talking, so I know I was kind of rambling there, but I had, like, a couple of, live audience members on my Twitch that I wanted to entertain. Then they left. So, thank you all so much again, thank you all so much for watching. And again, let me know if you want me to do more of these. If you do, my next one will be about the science of the faunus. So I do believe that is all there is to say. So this has been the science of the GRIMM with Professor Games. I'll see you guys, and I'll see you guys in the lab.